Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local, verified solar experts, community projects and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bank better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We start today with news that Volvo's EX30 is finally coming to the US. Already on sale in Europe and having started sales in Canada earlier this fall, the EX30 offers Volvo a way to directly compete against cars like the Honda Prologue in the North American marketplace. Priced from $44,900, it won't be eligible for US federal tax credits and may end up getting price hiked due to changes in domestic policy in the US. But for now, if you want the range-topping EX30 twin-motor performance, you'll be able to order one for delivery at the end of this year. If that sounds like too much, though, there is some comfort in the news that Volvo intends on bringing the entry-level rear-wheel drive extended range model to the US next year, with a target price of just under $35,000 before delivery and destination charges. More choice is always good. We have seen Nissan's profitability and future look pretty bleak this year, and this week the Japanese automaker announced what it is calling emergency mode for the brand. With 9,000 jobs expected to be cut across Nissan's global workforce, the automaker has announced that it will be selling off some of its stake in rival Japanese firm Mitsubishi Motors. At the same time, the company's CEO has announced that he will be giving himself a 50% pay cut, meaning that he will be making somewhere around $2.15 million a year instead of the $4.4 million a year he was previously making. Aside from dramatically highlighting the disparity between C-suite and regular workers' salaries, the measures are expected to help save Nissan around $3 billion a year. It's not clear at this time how current and future EV models will be impacted. Heading out of the US election this week, many of us are still wondering what the future of the EV industry in North America will look like in a few months' time. But one thing we can answer for sure right now is that EVs are less partisan than at any point in history. According to research firm Auto Pacific, while political identity and party affiliation is still a factor in influencing someone's decisions about EV ownership, it's becoming less important when it comes to EV purchase decisions. It asked 12,000 Americans about their opinions on electric vehicles, including EV owners, skeptics, and those open to EV ownership in their sample. While its data shows that people who vote blue are more likely to drive an EV, there's growing acceptance on the other side of the aisle. That's a good thing. Ford has officially started shipping new NACS adapters to EV customers after issues were detected with the original NACS adapters designed and built for the company. Unlike previous adapters, though, the new units are made by EV charging supply specialist Electron, and according to insider reports, are being made in larger volumes than previous adapters could be made. Eligible customers who have yet to receive Ford adapters but filled out the online request form to get one should start to see theirs arriving in the coming weeks, and Ford will also be shipping out replacement NACS adapters to customers who had already received previous units that have now been deemed as defective. Ford cautions customers not to use those original NACS adapters at superchargers and instead to wait for replacement units to arrive. BYD published its October sales data this week, and for the first time in the company's history, it eclipsed 500,000 vehicles sold. Admittedly, not all of those vehicles were battery electric. BYD also makes and sells plug-in hybrids in some markets. But during October, 502,657 new energy vehicles rolled off the production line and into customers' hands, a figure that's 20% up from the previous record, as said a month earlier. Of those vehicles, the lion's share, 310,912, were plug-in hybrids, with battery electric vehicles making up the rest. During October, EV sales were up 15% year over year and 15% on the previous month. If this continues, BYD could become number one in EV sales this year. We are big advocates of bidirectional charging capability on the channel, and as you might know, I personally have a vehicle capable of two-way bidirectional power transfer. Getting a vehicle-to-home compatible cars and charging stations working can sometimes be a bit of a pill, however. But if you're in Switzerland and you own a Volkswagen ID EV, you're now going to be able to order your own bidirectional charging station through Sun to Wheel, It's the first officially authorised charging partner to offer V2G-capable charging stations for customers, and as long as you have an ID 3, 4, 5, 7 or Buzz with a battery pack that's a 77 kilowatt-hour model or larger, you'll be able to get your vehicle working with the system after an OTA update. The price isn't exactly cheap, about 13,000 Swiss francs, but for those who want to have grid independence and resilience, it's a smart choice without requiring you to have a massive, oversized EV. Rideshare company Waymo has come a long way since its humble beginnings as the Google self-driving vehicle program. Not only has the capabilities of its fleet improved through successive iterations of its tech, but now with public rideshare services operating in certain markets, Waymo's worth has soared to $45 billion. Waymo now says its fleet of self-driving cars are completing around 100,000 trips a week with paying customers, and that's helped the company secure an additional $5.6 billion in fresh capital. That capital, alongside its 100,000 trips per week and some new upcoming vehicles, has led to the impressive valuation. A lot has been said in recent weeks about the safety of electric vehicles, with one report, as we covered last week, placing some of BYD's electric vehicles at the top of the safety charts. But this week, EuroNCAP, the test agency for EU market vehicles, came out swinging in its latest public testing of the BYD Atto 3. Not one of the models highlighted in last week's high-scored report from Australia. The Atto 3 has, and still does, fare very well in traditional crash tests, scoring 91% for adult occupant, 89% for child occupant, and 69% for vulnerable road users using 2022 model year testing. But new tests released this week, which focused on its assistive technology, classified the car as not recommended, with poor performance in undertake prevention, car cutting out, car cutting in front, local hazard, and road feature recognition. It also scored 0 out of a possible 20 points for hands-on and driver monitoring, suggesting there's some significant software improvements needing to be made before it can operate safely in any kind of autonomous mode. Luxury brand Bentley might not be the first brand you think of as being particularly interested in the electric vehicle industry, but this week its CEO, Frank-Stefan Walliser, made some pretty big statements on the status of EVs in an interview with Autocar. Talking candidly, the prestige brand's CEO says that he believes we're about to see the end of the first phase of EV development, where EVs are still new and unusual, and moving towards the second phase of EV development, where EVs will be given larger batteries and faster charging to help nervous customers make the switch to electric. The third phase of the EV revolution, which he believes will happen in just over a decade's time, will be the expansion of new battery cell chemistries and a maturation of EV charging networks, allowing for a more diverse and comprehensive portfolio of EVs to come to market. I'm not sure I personally vibe with his particular assessment, but it's certainly good to see the industry note that change is happening and will continue to happen as we head towards a cleaner, zero-emission future. And finally for the segment, we've seen a lot of things happening in the world of electric vertical takeoff and landing in the last few weeks, with some companies like German-based Lilium facing a very bleak future. But for eVTOL specialist Joby, the future is looking a lot better after the completion of its first international exhibition flight in Shizuoka, Japan, where Toyota has a technical centre. Completing the flight with no issues with Mount Fuji in the background, the flight is a first in a long series of test flights planned for Japan thanks to a $500 million long-term agreement signed between Joby and Toyota earlier this year. In addition to representatives from Joby and Toyota Motor Corporation, which included Toyota CEO Akio Toyoda, representatives from Japan's Civil Aviation Bureau were in attendance, with the ultimate goal of Joby receiving official certification for operation in Japan in the near future. Our short shorts are coming next, but first a word from one of today's video sponsors, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers across the US, and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. I used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and the Energy Sage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free no-obligation services and get the ball rolling today. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we will get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support the channel. It's a win-win-win. And now it's time for short shorts. Chevrolet has issued a recall on 107 Bolt EV and Bolt EUV models after learning that a previous recall campaign to install battery diagnostic software may not have been carried out correctly. It will contact owners of affected vehicles to arrange to remedy the problem. With the Kia EV3 coming onto the market in Europe, Kia has quietly removed its Niro EV from the ordering website in Germany. Given that the EV3 and Niro EV share similar specs and features, it's hardly surprising, but a handful of Niro EVs are still available at dealerships. UK vehicle auction specialist BCA has announced a new EV battery health grading service that will help prospective EV customers get a health report from any used EV being sold through its various auction houses and web portals. Improving customer confidence in its used EVs will help it increase sales. Walmart has officially launched a new fleet of Chevrolet BrightDrop vans for its in-home delivery service across key markets in the US. In-Home offers last-mile delivery solutions for customers who require or would prefer to have their groceries delivered to their door. Honda and battery specialist Asahi Kasei have announced a new agreement to turn an existing subsidiary into a joint venture between the two firms. The newly created joint venture will focus on battery separator production in Canada. Staying in Canada, NFI subsidiary New Flyer has announced an expansion of its Winnipeg production facility to produce Excelsior transit buses for sale in the region. The bus production has been made possible thanks to funding from Manitoba and Prairies Can. Norway's capital city, Oslo, celebrated this week as it officially enacted legislation that requires all taxis within the city to be electric. First announced in September 2020, taxi operators in Oslo have had 4 years to prepare for the requirement, which came into effect on November 1st. While France has been making some changes to its official EV subsidy programs of late and pushing towards increasing penalties on drivers of heavily polluting vehicles, it's asking the EU government to establish EU-wide electric car subsidies that don't vary from country to country. This week, General Motors confirmed that it's now sold more than 300,000 electric vehicles in the US since it first launched the 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV in late 2016. It's now sold 370,000 EVs across North America. Battery specialist CATL has entered into a trial production of an all-new solid-state battery pack that it aims to bring into series production in the near future, offering an energy density of up to 500 watt-hours per kilogram. If it reaches mass production, it will be transformational. Lyft and Mobileye have announced a new partnership designed to bring large fleets of autonomous vehicles into the Lyft rideshare platform. Through a new program, Lyft will offer Lyft fleet operators the chance to purchase Mobileye-equipped Lyft-ready autonomous vehicles. As political uncertainty abounds, Toyota has confirmed that it intends to hold off making major EV investments until the very last moment. It's driven by a precipitous drop in profits at the Japanese automaker, which in turn has been driven by tough competition from EVs from China. Although Jaguar Land Rover hasn't officially launched its first all-electric Range Rover, the company now says it has more than 48,000 hand-raisers who want to put down money to buy one. The list is up from 16,000 that it was in February. In a new hearing this week, the soon-to-be European Commissioner for Sustainable Transport told the EU's Transport Committee during a politically charged hearing that he has no plan of delaying EU emissions targets, regardless of any pressure the automotive industry might exert. Battery specialist Amprius Technologies was celebrating the shipping of its first A-sample EV cells to the United States Advanced Battery Consortium this week. The battery cells are part of its latest cell tech, and it can reach 90% state of charge in 15 minutes. Autonomous vehicle specialist ARXA has unveiled a fleet of self-driving Ford e-Transits for the first time. Already in operation on the roads of the UK and certain US cities, they're the first all-electric self-driving vans and minibuses of their type built on existing Ford vehicles. Yamaha has officially ended any future plans for electric bicycle sales in North America. It's told its dealerships that it will officially pull out of North America at the end of this year. In the interim, it's offering up to 60% discount off in-stock inventory. NIO was celebrating another strong month of sales in October, securing 20,000 vehicles sold around the world for the 6th month in a row. It sold 20,976 vehicles last month, up 30.5% from this time last year. Meanwhile, in the US, Kia was celebrating another record-breaking month for its EVs. During October, it sold just over 1,700 Kia EV6 and nearly 2,000 Kia EV9 models during the month, up 70% year over year. Its sibling brand, Hyundai, also had a great October, with its Ioniq 5 selling just shy of 4,500 examples during the month, up 51% year over year. While the Ioniq 6 only sold 837 examples, EV sales are up for the brand overall. Beta Technologies, a firm specializing in all-electric aircraft, has just celebrated securing more than $300 million in additional equity to help it bring its range of all-electric aircraft to market. It offers both conventional and eVTOL craft. ChargePoint has announced a new subscription-based service called CloudPlan EV, which enables EV owners in multifamily dwellings to subscribe to and use level 2 charging in a cost-effective way. It's also designed to help landlords recoup costs of installing charging stations. Lancia has teased the name of its first electric vehicle, the Lancia Gamma. Due to be released sometime next year, we know very little about the car other than the teaser images posted to Lancia's website. It will be made in the same factory as its ancestor, the Ypsilon. Canoo has laid off nearly a quarter of its workforce as rumours start to spread about the company's future. Talking anonymously to local news about the layoffs and furloughs, one employee stated they didn't believe Canoo will be in existence for much longer. Rivian has announced a new discount program designed to get bums in seats of its R1T and R1S. To take advantage of the $3,000 discount being offered, you'll need to prove you own or lease a gasoline car and be willing to buy a new inventory vehicle from Rivian's R1 shop this month. California has shown itself to be one of the most progressive places in the US to own an EV, and it's currently considering an electric motorcycle mandate similar to its EV mandate for cars. If it comes into effect, California hopes it will see electric motorcycle sales soar. Researchers at the US Department of Energy's Argonne National Laboratory have developed a new cathode design that they say could improve the performance and cost of lithium-ion batteries. It uses what it's calling a composition gradient design, which alters chemical structure of cathodes as you travel further away from the core. Fresh from a pre-production record-breaking stint at the Nürburgring, Xiaomi has started pre-sales of the XU7 Ultra in China. While it looks like Xiaomi's XU7 from a distance, this one is far spicier and comes with an equally spicy price tag in excess of 100 grand. Suzuki has unveiled its first battery electric vehicle in the form of the e-Vitara. It's an all-electric model that will be produced at one of Suzuki's Indian production facilities starting next year and will be sold in Europe, India and Japan. It features a lithium iron phosphate battery. Honda has unveiled two new concept electric motorcycles at EICMA 2024. The first is the EV Fun concept and the second is the EV Urban concept. Honda says it will bring both of these vehicles to market, with the EV Fun concept due to begin production next year, with the Urban concept scooter expected in the future. Zero Motorcycles has, as usual, revamped its lineup for 2025, but also introduced two new models in the form of the XE and XB, off-road only models in the US but street legal in other markets. Both are part of Zero's all-access program, which aims to unveil 6 new models over the next 2 years, all with prices under $10,000. Kia has unveiled 2 new off-road electric models as part of its SEMA lineup, including a one-off-road ready EV9 called the EV9 Adventure and a one-off-road version of its yet-to-launch PV5 van called the Weekender concept. I'm very much ready for the Weekender. Royal Enfield has unveiled a brand new spin-off electric motorcycle brand called the Flying Flea. Its models are a homage to the lightweight air-droppable motorcycles of the Second World War. There's a retro-styled FFC6 and a Scrambler S6. Pricing and specs have yet to be revealed. While we and many others have dreamed of a no-nonsense all-electric Suzuki Jimny, this week, talking to Autocar at the launch of the Suzuki e-Vitara, Suzuki boss Toshiro Suzuki said that making a Jimny electric would, quote, ruin the best part of the Jimny, end quote. Honda's Prologue, which is really a GM EV and Honda drag, is still proving incredibly popular in the US. Sales data from Honda shows that it's sold 4,130 examples last month. Chevrolet has confirmed that the Silverado EV, at least ones with all-wheel steering, will soon be getting an over-the-air update to enable a diagonal driving feature similar to the Hummer EV's Crab Mode. But don't call it Crab Mode, says Chevy. It's called Sidewinder. The Ultraviolette F77, India's homegrown all-electric performance motorcycle, is now officially certified for sale in Europe, meaning fans can finally order and buy one. Sadly, though, along with the certification comes a massive price increase, 3 times of what it costs in its home market. Polestar has officially begun deliveries of the Polestar 3 in the US, following the start of deliveries of the vehicle's twin, the Volvo EX90. While the Polestar 3 is built in the US because of its battery sourcing and interior content, it's ineligible for US tax incentives. And finally, for the shorts, experts in the automotive industry are taking note after GM applied for a patent for a new drive unit that's very similar to a previously patented unit from Lucid for an EV motor with integrated differential drive. Some outlets have suggested that GM has copied Lucid's homework. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. Our final 2 stories are next, but first a quick word from friend of the channel, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also go towards growing a greener world. That's exactly what Atmos Financial does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy rather than fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow with every swipe of your card today, because it's committed to investing 100% into clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a competitive savings rate and a mobile app, your finances and the climate can go hand in hand. It charges no monthly fees, there are no minimums keeping you awake at night, and it offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the link below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth, and every sign-up supports our channel, which means we can keep bringing you the content you enjoy. I'm personally a customer, and I love knowing that I'm helping save money while also making sure that money doesn't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. As always, thanks to Atmos for sponsoring the show. And now it's time for those last 2 stories. We've talked quite a lot on this channel over the last few years about bans on the sale of new internal combustion engine vehicles as countries around the world toy with the idea of an all-electric future. In the last year, we've seen some significant backtracking as governments change, and those who didn't implement the pledges to choose a greener future make random excuses as to how fossil fuels are essential and we should drill, baby, drill. And not so far from me this week, a ballot measure suggested that CO2 as a, quote, essential part of life, end quote, needed to be produced in large enough volumes to sustain said life. Well, while large parts of the world are now doing the metaphorical equivalent of eating Tide Pods, over in Kigali, Rwanda, a new ban is about to take effect on the registration of internal combustion engine motorcycles for use as taxis. As of the start of January next year, while existing internal combustion engine motorcycle taxi operators will be able to continue to use their existing bikes, new bikes purchased for taxi services must, after that point, be electric. And finally, continuing the good news, because we really do need good news this week. Oil giant BP has announced it will be selling off every last one of its filling stations in the Netherlands. And while this sale isn't about going to electric vehicles and increasing charging stations, BP told Reuters that the investment needed for growth in its fossil fuel industry was too high, it does hint at a future where more and more companies begin to realise that fossil fuels aren't the cash cow they once were, either because of environmental laws or because of the increased costs associated with digging up and refining the stuff. I know some outlets have categorised this story slightly differently, but from what I can tell, those filling stations aren't going anywhere just yet. They're getting sold off to someone else. But if BP can't turn a profit on them, frankly, I'm hopeful that there'll soon be EV charging stations instead. What do you think? And on that note, we are done with today's show. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring the channel. They've been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make that switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And thanks to Atmos Financial. Bank better by following the link below. And if you're someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, whatever it was, however you did it, congratulations. If you'd like to support the channel directly, please consider supporting us from $1 a month on Patreon, which is about $10.08 a year, or by visiting our swag store. We are viewer supported because we believe the information we produce should be free for everyone to consume. And thanks to how changes in ad revenue and YouTube have happened, our income is down this year. So if you have been supporting, thank you. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that you make this all possible. You really do. We'll be back next week, as usual, with content going out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And to finish, remember that you are valid. You are loved. And you have a place in this world, especially if you are facing down the metaphorical double barrel of a dark, distorted future where your existence may be criminalized or worse. I'm going to assume that for many of you watching, this week has been impossibly hard. It was for me, and I'm not going to lie. At one point this week, I did wonder what the point of keeping on was. But if so many people have so much hate and so many marginalized people are now at risk, I think we have but one answer. Continue to exist. And if that sounds like you, congratulations, you're now part of the counterculture movement. And your existence makes it harder for hate to thrive. Remember that. Every day. Please. So, until next time, stay safe. Regardless of your identity or who you love, be an amazing ally. Be kind. Be that positive change you want to see in the world, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. Keep evolving.